my blessing from above. Though in darkness, have no fear. Light will shine on those who hold them near. They know that sorrow they will pass. For I know in this life there will be something. But remember that love, yes it will. Love will reign. Yeah. Love will reign. Yeah. In my heart, I believe it. Love will reign. Love will reign. Oh, yeah. Love will reign. Yeah. Have a vision. It's clear and plain. People live and laugh, smiling again. Oh, see the children, they know no pain. Far from pressure, stress and strain. Oh, sorrow, they will pass. For I know in this life there's gonna be some pain. But remember that love, yes it will. I know. Yeah. Love will reign. Gotta believe it. In my heart, I truly believe. Sun will shine again. And love, I can hardly wait. We'll all be together. There'll be peace, peace, sweet peace, happiness and joy forever. Oh, yeah. One day, someday, pain will be over and love will reign. They won't last, for I know in this life there's gonna be some pain. But in the end, love will reign. Love will reign. Said in His word, weeping may endure the night. Love will conquer all. Love will win the fight. So don't be discouraged. Don't be dismayed. The darkest hour is just before the light. Hate will be crushed, fear will be gone, love will remain and go on and on. Though the road seems rough, my friend, we know how the journey is. Oh, yeah. La, 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 la. La, la, la. La, 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 la. Oh, oh. La, 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 la.
Love will reign. We love Kiera Coleman Ward's Love Will Reign so much that it is our song as our opening. And I'm so excited that you have joined us. I'm Marcus Holmes, the love activist. I'm advocating, excuse me, for a better love for you and I, that our world might be filled with good love. And so Welcome to the Love and Stuff community. I hope that you will click share and tag 5 of your closest Facebook friends, 5 of your more popular to join us in the discussion, along with 5 of your subscribers, 5 of your connections across platforms to join us in what I believe is a great topic from our inbox. And so I'm clicking share, and I hope that you will do the same across platforms. So thank you for joining us, whether you're joining us here live on Facebook or if you're on Twitch TV, on Twitter, on YouTube events. We're grateful to have you here, and I hope that you will click share and tag someone to join us, and that you've fallen in love with our new time, which is 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're excited to have you here. And just before I get into the topic, I'd like for you, wherever you are, to click share, tag 5 of your closest connections, 5 of the more popular ones, to join us in today's discussion that is from the inbox. And it is quite a topic. I will say that it's quite a topic. And so I'm going to share it in the comments. Hopefully you will be able to see it. I'll pin it in the comments, at least across my main platform, I think. And hopefully it will populate across other platforms. So click share and tag someone to join us as we go into this topic that I am now putting in the comments, and hopefully I am pinning it. Hopefully, yes, it pinned it. Hopefully you can see it across all platforms. All right, it did pin it. At least I see it double back to, and thank you, those of you that are joining us on YouTube events. Drop in the comments who you are so I can say hello. I'd love to say hello to you. And while I'm doing that and you're clicking share, I want to encourage you to support our Love and Stuff community. We have great things happening in the community, and we really do believe in the brand that we wear. We wear the brand, we love the brand, and we want to live the brand. And we hope you will too join us in doing that. What you wear says something about you, about who you are, what you believe, and what you stand for. So here in the Love and Stuff community, we wear the brand that we live, and we live the brand that we wear because we love the brand. It's all about increasing the amount of love in the world and upping our love game. And if that's what you're about, you should wear it too. If that's what you're about, you should wear it too. So you can go to our Shopify store, and we'll drop the link in later. If you want to shop till you drop and get some great deals on great gear from Love and Stuff. 35% of the net proceeds go towards helping disaster relief, those that are looking for scholarship opportunities, and those that just need a hand up. That's what we do in the Love and Stuff community. All right. So I'm going into the topic, and this topic comes from our inbox. He writes, I'm dating 2 young ladies. I know some people already are like, oh, I don't want to hear this, but it is for some a reality. All right. Dating 2 young ladies. One has been off and on for a few years. She's 26. One has been steady for 3 years. She's 45. I'm 38. And I've noticed that I pay a lot more for the sex. Now, he wasn't saying that he does prostitution in the way that people might be thinking it. But he's saying to get to the sex with the 26-year-old, he has to do movies and dinner and flights and sporting events, more so than for the older woman. She enjoys all of those things, he says, but she would have sex anytime without any of those things. His question is, does the power shift after 40? Meaning, does the woman give up the sex more readily after 40 and it doesn't need the accoutrements? My word, accoutrements, not his. If so, he says, I got a long way to go if I'm going to stick with the youngin. So he's kind of trying to make a decision, it sounds like, whether or not he should date one of them or the other. I asked if that were the case. He said, I'm not so sure. But it certainly is more expensive dating a 26-year-old in his estimation than it is a 45-year-old. So I wanted to broach it with you, and whether or not, ladies, you think that that's true. Now, I know there are ladies that aren't having sex at all. I'm not asking you to make something up, but I guess I'm wondering, are your views about sex different as you get older? That's really the overarching question that I want to ask. Of course, I'd love to answer his question is there a power shift? Because some believe that women use sex, use it or withhold it as a power play, that you're not going to get to the golden gates that bring all euphoria to its knees. I don't know. You're not going to get there if you don't do certain things, whatever it is that she wants done. And that women of a certain age that are getting older have such a higher sex drive that they just want to have sex. They want to have sex and they don't have all of those requirements. So I want to hear from you. And I'm hoping that you will click share and tag other people. What do you say about that? Is there a shift? Does a shift happen after a certain age? I know personally that a shift in drive happened after a certain age, and we may talk a little bit more about that as we go. But I want to hear from the ladies. Do you feel less or more empowered as you're aging? Do you use sex as a power move? Is that true? I want to hear from you, and I hope that you will chime in wherever you may be watching us from. I see some people joining on YouTube. I love YouTube. I love Facebook. I love all these platforms. I love YouTube, but you got to remember you have to drop your name in the comments or I won't even know really who is there to be able to say, hey, and I can't navigate all of the platforms. All of them don't allow for all of the comments to populate at the same time. And some of them have, different things that are happening and going on. So it helps me to know that you're here and it helps me to know where you're from while we're live instead of having to go back and figure it out. So I want to hear from you. And those of you that are on Twitch TV, thank you for watching. Thank you for watching last night, the Martin Luther King special. It's going to re-air tonight at 8:30. So stay tuned for that. A wonderful presentation, I believe, of information that I hope will inspire you to dream just as Dr. King, and hopefully you will take up some of the tenets of his dream as well. Thank you for those of you that are watching on Twitter. I know the screen looks a little bit different there, but I hope that you will continue to watch. And of course, from our Love and Stuff community and our Facebook group where we emanate and where we began this Love and Stuff journey, thank you so much for continuing to watch us and continuing to share. And again, I hope you as well enjoy the Martin Luther King Jr. as well as LinkedIn, though we're not live tonight on LinkedIn. So to the topic, gentleman is 38. He's been dating a younger woman and an older woman, not a whole lot older, because in relative, 38 is relative to 45 and in date years in a lot of ways. And some may say not in every way. But the younger woman, he spends a lot more money to get to the sex. Now, I asked him, did he try to get to the sex without spending the money? And he said, yes. And he does not get to the sex without spending the money. So that can tell you a lot about the relationship, or maybe not as much as you think it can tell you. But I think it does tell us something about the terms of endearment, the terms of engagement for that relationship. And he tested it to find that out. But with the older woman, she just likes to be with him and likes to have lots of sex, he says. And it doesn't require the lever of his wallet. It doesn't require him to spend a dime, even though he doesn't mind taking her out and doing things with her. But he's noticed that none of that matters. There are times that she calls him in the middle of the night. And ladies, I want you to chime in and say, that's true, that in the middle of the night you get the call. Now, I know everybody don't want to say, because I know that there are upstanding, spiritual, deeply devout, and august people who are part of Love and Stuff community, some, but we have people all across the continuum. And I love it because I think we can co-love having different understanding of how love shows up and how we display love. And we might learn some powerful things about our Constitution and how our Constitution can shift by those other lifestyles and opinions and beliefs. So I don't mean to disparage anybody's beliefs, but I know that there are people who practice celibacy, practice sex within a covenant, and I honor, celebrate, and laud you. I just want you to be mindful that there are people that don't play by those same rules. And there are people who are engaged frequently, rarely, on an occasion in sexual relationships, something similar to this guy, even though I think he's having a lot more sex than probably a lot of people put together, but that's his own thing. And so I want to hear from you. I want you to drop in the comments and tell me now, as you have aged, ladies, if there are ladies in their 30s and their 40s, have your thoughts about the power of sex changed, or do you use it as a lever, as a leverage, as power in your relationships? Have you ever? Were you successful in doing that? You know, we see stories and hear stories about men staying home when the wife is like, "We getting ready to have sex. You going out with the boys? Oh, we're gonna have sex today." And he's like, "Sorry, fellas, I can't go." We hear and see different parodies and stories relative to that, but I want to hear from you. Is that the truth? And does it change after age, after you get a certain age? Because I know for me, I entered into my 40s and my body said to me, "What did you change? You changed my body." It said, what are you doing? My body was in overdrive. I was awakened to things I had not been awakened to in the way in which I was awakened to before. And I would tell my friends that, "What is this happening to you? What is happening to me?" And some of my friends will laugh and say, "Yeah, it's happening. It is this higher desire for sex and intimacy." So I'm a pretty intimate person, but desire for sex changed. I mean, it wasn't even like that in my 20s. And I think I probably knew a bit more in my 40s than I knew in my 20s. But it was a very interesting time being awakened to that. And so I'm wondering, are there women out there and brothers that can validate that and say, "Yep, when I hit 40, things totally changed"? And does that mean the leverage changed, that instead of using sex as okay, I'm going to use it to get what I want, because you wanted sex, you no longer did that? Is that something that changes over time? Because I think this gentleman wants to know that, because he's trying to decide, I think, whether to keep investing in the 26-year-old, which that's a little bit of an age difference, right? Or lean toward the 45-year-old who seems to be totally plugged into him and wants, as he expressed, more sex than he wants. Sometimes he's like, "Hey, I got the headache," right? Whereas with the 26-year-old, and probably because it makes him, it does something for the male libido to some degree. When a younger woman is digging us, she might be digging the wallet, she might be digging the skill, she might be digging the accoutrements, she might be digging our status or stature, whatever that might be. Be us, it might be a total package of us, but we take that and it builds up our ego a little bit. It, boosts it a little bit. But the price that he's saying that he's paying is, there is an entry fee. I think that was probably stronger than I intended to say it. There is a fee. There is a dine me, wine me, do something for me that would make me know that you value this. And I'm wondering, does that change with age? And I'd love to hear from you as to whether or not it does. I'm just checking across platforms just to see. Okay. Fantastic. Thank you so much. All right. I'm trying to. Okay. Fantastic. What do you say? All right. And while you are coming to what you're saying, I have to dip to one of our partners. If you're looking for, I'm telling you, if you are looking for flooring or to have your flooring redone, Sisson Hardware Flooring, look at this work. You definitely want this. We will be right back. I'm telling you, Ernest is the partner that you want to have. Did you see that beautiful woodwork? You definitely want Sisson Flooring. To our topic again, this gentleman is 38, dating a 26-year-old and dating a 45-year-old. And he is wondering, is there a shift in power as women age? Because with the 26-year-old, to get to the pearly gates, if you will, he has to wine her, dine her. He takes her to sporting events. He takes her to theater. He takes her to the movies. He takes her to dinner. He takes her basically anywhere she wants to go and spans. And he knows that he's going to have a good nightcap. But with the 45-year-old woman, he can do any of that or none of it. And she is calling him in the middle of the night, wanting to have sex. And he's wondering, is that an age thing? And if it is, he's got a long way to go with the 26-year-old who builds up his ego and who is still children, baby making age, right? He has no children. So he's considering, if I'm going to have a baby, this might be the way to go. But how does that power shift after a certain time? And I was sharing that going into your 40s, for some people, there is a sexual awakening. Your mind, your body, a clock goes off or something, an alarm, and you might think differently about it. I want to hear from the women and the men. What do you think? Is there a shift as you age in that power, or do women use their ability to provide good sex to a man as leverage to get whatever they want? And does that change as age happens? I want to hear from you. Drop in the comments what you think about that. Want to hear from you, whether you're watching on YouTube events, Twitch TV, Twitter, Facebook. I said YouTube, Twitch TV, Facebook, Twitter. Whether you're watching on any of those platforms, drop in the comments so that we can hear from you. Does sex shift with age? That power that women have, does it shift with age? Now, I broached this topic with a few people in the inbox, and there were some younger brothers that said they are empowered too. And I said, do you think that will change once you get older? They said, no, it's because the woman got older and her sex drive shoots like this. And so she doesn't want all of the necessarily the games to go through. She wants to get down to business, as it were. So she doesn't require all of the extra things as she gets older. I want to hear from some of you. Is that true? Do you validate that? What would you advise this gentleman about? I know some people are saying he got 2 girlfriends, but he needs to get it together. I hear you. I hear you. And I told him that he should hear you, right? That he's the 26-year-old does know about the 45-year-old, but the 45-year-old does not know about the 26-year-old, just for clarity. And so to provide some anonymity, of course, I'm not going to say their names or states or things of that nature. But the 26-year-old, I'm sorry, 26, I think I said, which is correct, and 45, 26-year-old does not care, because as long as she gets what she wants, which is the wining, the dining, and all of the good stuff, the flights, he flies her out. She's been flew out to places and trips and dips and chips and all of that. She's perfectly fine that he has something that he thinks is slightly more serious with an older woman who really has a high sex drive and really doesn't require the maintenance of take me here, take me there. She appreciates being taken to those places, but she doesn't need those places to get her needs met, as it were. What do you say? Do you say there's a shifting that happens after a certain age where women don't necessarily have to utilize that as leverage or choose to utilize it as leverage because they want as much sex or more as the man? What are your thoughts? Drop in the comments and share with me. What do you think about this topic where this gentleman is 38 years old? He's dating 2 ladies, and one of them is 26. One of them is 45. The one that is 26 will not give him access to the pearly gates, if you will, without the wining and dining. But the one that's 45 hardly can wait for him to get to the gates. And she doesn't require wining and dining. Is that a dynamic that happens when women age? That's one of the questions. The one that was burning to me, which I wanted to hear your opinions on, thoughts on, do women really use sex as leverage to get what they want? And does that continue as they age? Or is it that you want sex too so much that you wouldn't use those tactics because you don't have to use those tactics to get it? What do you say? I want to hear from you in the comments, whether you're on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch TV, YouTube events. Drop in the comments now and share with me, what are your thoughts? And what would you say to this gentleman who's saying, does the power shift after 40 or at some point where women say, I'm not going to use sex in that way? If they do. Now, you may be saying women don't use sex that way. I don't know if that's every man's experience, but I want to hear from you, young and seasoned. What do you say relative to that power shift? I do believe that there is a power shift that occurs. I do, as I said earlier, I have seen and heard of women who say, yeah, you do these things around the house and we can have sex, or you take me out and we can, or you're not getting none if you go hang out all night with the boys. And fellas, some of you may say, fellas, I can't make it. I'm gonna see you next time. Because she has that leverage, that power. And maybe when you're dating, and if you're dating a younger woman, maybe that is important to be able to provide her all of those things because you know it is the gateway to paradise. Have you noticed the same thing with older women? Do they require less wine and dine? Do they require more sex? And that might be the balance of the power. What do you say? All right, I'm looking across platforms, looking for you to jump in with your comments. And I'll give you a minute to do that. And while you are thinking and clicking share, as I know that you will, I am going to share with you another one of our partners here in the Love and Stuff community, Powerful Money Tools LLC. All right, I will be right back with that comment.
Welcome to Powerful Money Tools LLC. At Powerful Money Tools, we are here to prepare for your future. We want to talk about financial freedom. Financial freedom is budgeting, credit building, and also financial education. So once again, welcome to Powerful Money Tools LLC. We can't wait to help you in your financial future.
It's the beginning of the year, and if you want to get those finances together, the money coach Christina from Powerful Money Tools LLC is available on all platforms. You can reach your Love and Stuff community, inbox her, and she would love to help you. Thanks for joining us, Autumn Nicole, Holmes, and Tawana Mann, and others that are joining. If you drop your name in the comments across all platforms, I'll be able to see them. And Autumn says, I think there's an exchange that men and women all expect from each other. For a younger woman, it might be monetary. For an older woman, maybe it's more of emotional security. All right. I thank you for that. And I'm interested to hear from you and others, just like Autumn, who have chimed in to say where this gentleman from the inbox is 38, his two girlfriends, that's right, he has two girlfriends. Don't judge him too hard. One is 26, and she knows about the other one who is 45, and the one that's 45 does not know about the 26-year-old. So he's been dating the 26-year-old a little longer than the older one, which he's been dating her on and off, but he's been dating the older one for 3 years, kind of steady. And what he's noticing is that in order for him to get to the pearly gates, if you know what I mean, with the younger one, he has to spend money. He has to fly her out. He has to take her on a trip. He has to take her to the movies. Put in the comments the things and places that you would want to go, right? With the older woman, he does those things too, but he doesn't have to do it to get to the pearly gates. The gates are wide open. And sometimes she calls him in the 3 and the 4 in the morning saying the gates are open. And so the question that he's asking, and I'm asking you, is there a power shift as women age that they don't utilize sex as leverage? Now, some will say, shame on them for using sex as leverage. I know single women, I know married women, I know divorced women, I know separated women, I know widowed women, and among them all, not all of them, And I don't know all women, right? But among them, I know that there are women who sometimes utilize sex to leverage fill in the blank, whatever it is they want. I'm not saying every woman does it. I'm not saying that. I'm saying I've known women across different type of relationship types and statuses to do it. And I've known younger women to do it and older women to do it. But I have noticed this, I'll call it phenomenon among older women, that when you get to a certain age, and men too, you get to that 40 mark, there is an awakening that happens to your mind, body, and soul relative to sex and your prowess and your understanding and exploration of sex. It might not be universal to happen to everybody, but a lot of the people that I've spoken to, and I haven't spoken to everybody in the world, but a lot of people that resonates with them, that boy, isn't there a change that happens? So I'm wondering if that change awakens your appetite in a way that you no longer use sex as a leverage. And I'm not making a judgment on people who use it or who don't use it. I'm asking on behalf of the gentleman in the inbox whether or not there is a power shift that happens as you age. Pause. The main problem here is that he isn't honest with the 45-year-old about having a 26-year-old girlfriend. Well, I think that is an issue, Autumn. And I think that a 45-year-old woman, and maybe if there's one here, I think Tawana's happily married, so she may respond and share. I think a 45-year-old woman or any woman of age would not probably stand for being the side, even though they're both sides, I guess. I guess they're both sides of mac and cheese and green beans. I don't know. But I don't know that necessarily a 45-year-old woman would be okay with somebody having that much a younger woman. There might be some out there that would, but it's probably because the 26-year-old is getting out of the relationship what she wants, whereas the 45-year-old wants so much more from the relationship. And I'm asking to that point, do you think that that age plays a factor in how sex is leveraged and how sex is utilized in relationship? Because I believe people utilize sex not just for the expression of pleasure and not just for procreation to be fruitful and multiply. Some people use sex to get out of the other person what they want. Some will say that's manipulation. Some will say that's strategy, whatever you want to call it. Who are me to judge that, right? And I understand that there are people who would only want to have this conversation in the context of covenant. And we realize that there are people that are in sexual relationships that are not in covenant. And so this is one of them from the inbox. And what he's basically saying is, boy, it's a long way to 40 from 26. So I better rethink the situation, because if there's not going to be a power shift until then, boy, I'm going to be spending a lot of money. And that could possibly be true. I don't know. I want to hear from you. Maybe when you were younger, or of your friends, do your friends utilize and leverage sex in the relationship? And does that change over time? In this case, the 45-year-old enjoys all of the things that he does with the 26-year-old. He could take her, he could fly her out on vacation. She'd be just so happy, but none of that's required for her to want to have sex with him or to come to him and initiate the desire to have sex. Very different from the 26-year-old, who that is the ticket to it, the only way that you can get to it. No one can get to sex but by me, in her regard, if you understand what I'm saying. And so is that something, does a power shift happen as one ages? I want to hear from you. Autumn has made some great comments, and I want to hear from others that are here. I can't really see who is here except for her and Tawana. There are other people here, but I know that YouTube, unless you say your names, or Twitch, unless you say a comment, it's not going to let me know that you're here. And in the Love and Stuff community, we absolutely love to greet you, because we know that you could be doing anything else with your Tuesday night. So we're always honored when you come and share your time and space with us. Autumn is commenting again, some women's sexual drive increases in the 40 to 55 age range. So he shouldn't judge the current sex drive of the 45-year-old versus that of the 26-year-old. Yes, I think that's the point he is saying. The 26-year-old may not get that kind of sex drive where she is not going to require these accoutrements like the 45-year-old doesn't require them until she's 40 or 45. And 40 is 14 years away. So he's got to do 14 years of trips and stuff and things to get her to the place where the 45-year-old is. But what he really seems to want is what the 45-year-old is giving him in a 26-year-old body. That's what he really seems to want, right? He wants the 26-year-old to respond like the 45-year-old. And sometimes we can expect for people to respond in a way that doesn't fit who they are or their sets of experiences, right? Somebody is 45 years old, not everybody. So I don't want to generalize this for every woman because there are 45-year-old virgins, 45-year-old celibate women, right? But a number of women that are 45 will say that they've been around the block at least once or twice, and they rode a big wheel and a bicycle and a 10-speed while they were there, right? And so they're thinking of some of the bravado that some might have about sex in the way that they thought when they were riding the tricycle. It's different now that they can glide on a moped, right? And so their sets of experiences inform them that I want what I desire and I don't need anything to leverage it because we desire the same thing. Whereas a 26-year-old woman, maybe she has desires, but maybe her desires are to be wined and dined, and her desires are to feel status and stature, and her desires are to be on the arm of a go-getting, successful, well-statured, cultured gentleman. And the sexual pleasure is secondary or thirdly for her. It is those other things that are important to her. And I can think about being younger and the things that were important to me. You know, when I got my first American Express card, and some of my friends will tell you this, I got an American Express card in college, which I don't think anybody needs one in college, but I'm sure there are people that are getting them today. They gave me that card without second thought. And I would fly to New York to have friends meet me for dinner on a whim. I did some things because it was about, for me in that time, being able to go places where an ambassador was or his son was, right? Being able to do all of those things. The accoutrements were important to me because it ascribed in my mind to me some valuation of being at a certain level, a certain status, a certain stature. It may have taken me a long time to catch up on that American Express bill, or a lot of singing engagements and backdoor engagements, run-on engagements to pay those bills and try to pay them. A lot of siblings helping to pay my bills and telling me, you better not do this again. I'm going to tell your mom and daddy. But I did those things because the lure of a certain status or stature or a certain perception was important. Now, I love those things. I could still fly to New York, right? But at 52, it isn't the same thing. It doesn't have the same weight or value to me. So I could imagine a woman who is like, I'm serious about what I want, my sexual needs, might not see those other things as important, especially if she's experienced them. I want to hear from you, all of you that have joined us from the inbox. Our gentleman has two lady friends. Don't judge them too hard. One is 26 and one is 45, and he's 38. And he's been dating the 26 off and on a little longer than he's been dating steady the 45. Of course, the 26-year-old knows about the 45-year-old, but the 45-year-old don't know about the 26-year-old. That's a whole nother show. But he wants to know, hey, is there a power shift after a certain age? Because this 26-year-old is running my pockets. I mean, I'm flying her out. I'm whining and dining her. I'm taking her to the theater and to sporting events. And we having a good time before we get to sex. And I even tested her to see if I could get to sex without these things. And she was like, heck no. The converse, the 45-year-old, will call me 3 and 4 in the morning for the sex after having spent no flights or no games or no accoutrements, nothing. And so his thinking is, do I have to go through this for 14 more years before my pockets will not be dried up? Or should I really just come to the realization that that's part of dating somebody younger? And if I want to continue down that path, think about it, because she is baby making age if he wants it to become more serious. Or does he stick with a woman who understands what she wants sexually and doesn't need any extra accoutrements to get it? That's the question I'm asking for him. He really wants to know, hey, is there a power shift that happens as you age? Women and men, I want to hear from you. Drop in the comments. Thank you, Barry Stockton, for joining us. Thank you for joining us on the Love and Stuff community page, and all of you that are joining, especially Twitch and YouTube events. If you'll drop your name in the comments, I'll know you're here, and I would love to greet you. And I'd love to hear from you to determine whether or not you think that there is a power shift as people age, that they don't utilize sex to get what they want. Do you believe that people do that at all? I do. I'm of the opinion that women, a lot of women do that. Not all women, but I learned in the inbox that more younger men do it too, that they use it to get from older women what they want, because older women want the younger men. And so they use it to get what they want. So I tried to ask a couple older brothers, did you do that when you were younger, and do you still do that? And it was a mixed kind of response. Some still do it and it works for them. And some said, no, that was something I did when I was younger. I don't use sex to leverage to get what I want. So I want to hear from you. Do you use sex to get what you might not want to say that, you know, you don't have to put your business out there, but have you heard, do you have a friend who might have used sex, one of your girlfriends, one of your homies, use sex to get what they want? And does that change as you age? I love to believe that it does. And I want to hear from you. And as we're waiting, I have to highlight one more of our partners here who has been a partner almost from day one. And she is rocking it with a beautiful array of clothes for you ladies. Many special pieces that you may not get anywhere else. She is a partner to the Love and Stuff community. And I want you to hear from June Rachelle Eaton from Detroit Couture. She's going to be one of our brand sponsors when we do our mock wedding. If you want to know more about that, inbox us at Love and Stuff. Hear a little bit from June.
Hi, my name is June Rachelle, and I own Detroit Couture. We are a fashion-forward women's boutique, and we offer friendly sizes from small all the way up to 3X women's sizes, very generously fit, very great quality. I actually have on one of our pieces today. It's called the Cuffed Up. It's in gray, burgundy, and black and olive, and it actually has a lot of stretch and give. So listen, in this time, we try to make sure that, first of all, it's quality and customer service that we offer our clients. And I'm so glad to have this opportunity to share with you. So go and visit us at DetroitCouture.com.
Ladies, if you're looking for fashion forward, June Rachelle Eaton and Detroit Couture equals fashion forward. Go to DetroitCouture.com and you will find great pieces there that you want to add in your wardrobe today. Follow June here on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, follow her at DetroitCouture.com and watch and see the wonderful pieces that she's regularly rotating from the inventory, that you will be amazed at both the quality and prices that are available to you. And we're thankful to have June as a partner for the Love and Stuff community. I'm going back to the topic and I'm hoping to hear from you. I'm checking the comments. We're at 7:45 and I just wanted to double back to the topic and ask again the question from the inbox. Is there a power shift as people age relative to sex? Do people who use sex to get what they want, as they age, do they stop using sex to get what they want? And I know, talking with people in and around the inbox, as I often try to do when I'm broaching the topics, to kind of gain people's insight on it. And thank you for joining us on the Love and Stuff community. Now, your name, I can't translate it. I hope this is coming across to you in English, but I can't translate it. But I want to acknowledge you. And if I learn how to translate on any of these devices, I will definitely do that, because I love to shout out our overseas folks, because I know it's such a wide difference in time. For some of you, it's morning there. So thank you for watching us. And I'm sorry I can't shout it out, because it's in a language I'm not familiar with. And so I will figure it out. But thank you for being a part of the Love and Stuff community. And I hope you will click share and tag someone. I hope this is something that can be translated. So I'm interested to know if women who have utilized sex to leverage anything, whether or not you do it. And I was talking to one woman, and she was awakened to the fact as a wife that she does it, because she will tell her husband when he says no to something that she wants, she'll say, okay, we'll see. And by the end of the day, he will soften that no, because what she's really saying is, we'll see when we get to the bed. Because normally after they make love, the next day he ends up saying, go on, girl, get what you want. So she says she does use it sometime as a way to pout or get leverage to get what she wants. And she says she's always done that. And she believes that a lot of women do that. It's just a natural thing to do. And I asked her, has that changed over time? And she said, no, not for her. That over time, she strategically uses it to say, oh, this credit card bill is a little high. And she brings the credit card bill in after she's had her good lingerie on and good perfume, to kind of soften the blow of the credit card bill. She's always used it to leverage things. And I said, hey, if that works in your relationship, that works. Some might consider that a bit of manipulation, but I'm sure that a man might have his way of getting to his woman's heart. Some women, for them, it might be cooking for your husband. You cook him that favorite meal that he wants, and it softens his heart. And he's like, oh, girl, get what you want. Do what you want to do, right? But in this case, I'm asking if it's a power shift over age. Do you think that over age, over time, that you are less likely to use it as leverage? Are you less likely to use it as leverage? And so, as I said with these two ladies, the gentleman who is dating two ladies, I tend to agree with what Autumn said earlier, that there is a problem. I don't know if it's the main problem, because I don't know what kind of conversation really they're having. I will assume that because they've been dating for 3 years, that she believes that they're exclusive, right? And there should always be communication about multiple sex partners, if that's what you decide to do. Of course, the 26-year-old is not moved by it. They've been on and off, and she gets mostly out of the relationship what she wants, according to him. I have not had any conversation with her. But for the older woman, we'll characterize it as that, the more seasoned woman, she's unaware of the existence, to his knowledge. I think oftentimes, even sometimes subconsciously, we're aware when someone else is in league or in relationship with someone else. Sometimes we deny the signs, we deny what our limbic resonance is telling us. We deny the signals and signs that are coming forward to tell us that this person is not only tuned into us, right? And many people say hindsight is 2020. You go back and say, oh, I missed that. I misheard that. I miscredited that. Normally, I like to stick with that last one. People miscredit what they see and hear, meaning we don't give it the appropriate level of priority and credit when people are showing us who they are, right? And so sometimes people are showing us who they are and their unavailability to us. They're unavailable emotionally to us. When someone is unavailable emotionally to you, they are telling you something. Now, that doesn't always mean that they're cheating, but somebody that's unavailable emotionally is captivated or fixated or focused on some other aspect of life or relationship that is capturing that emotion, right? Some people, their emotions are captured through trauma and they're unable, they haven't successfully been able to be emotionally available. But even those people are telling us and showing us that they're emotionally unavailable. And it's up to us to investigate that, right? Tawana Man says this situation is an arrangement, not a building relationship. I guess in this case, you can say or do what you want. No power, just saying what they want out of the situation. Yes. And I'm thinking, Tawana, and you might be able to help me, for the older woman who doesn't know about the younger woman and she thinks that she's in a long-term relationship with this guy. Now, this is through his eyes. I've not talked to her, but she's in a relationship with this guy and it's been 3 years steady. So they haven't been on and off. She doesn't know about the presence of another person or hasn't acknowledged or been awakened to it. And she doesn't require all of the extras that the younger one does. Do you think that has anything to do with age? Or that's just a person who says, I require more sex after 40 or require more sex in general. And all of this taking me out and flying me out, that's great, but that's not what I require. I require the sex. Is that something that you think is because older women do it, seasoned women, for those that would not like that word older? Or is that just depending on the person? It's nuanced to the individual. It really doesn't matter. It's without regard to age. No, I need a little bit more than no, just because, I got the gift of gab, so I may have overtalked the question. You're saying, no, it doesn't matter, or elaborate a little bit more, Tawana. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. I'm trying to make sure that I'm following your no. Because I think my question is kind of asking, is that without regard to age? Is age not a factor in this? And maybe you're saying, no, age is not a factor. That's just that individual who wants to have more sex in the relationship and doesn't need those accoutrements. Do you think those things become less important over age as you age, or they stay the same? As one of the women I talked in the inbox, she says, oh no, I regulate. If my husband doesn't take out the trash and do the things he's supposed to do around the house, I give him a hard time. I give him sex, but I give him a hard time. She says she doesn't withhold it, but she gives the impression that she might. Or if he really made her mad, she's like, I'm not having sex if I'm mad. So she sets these parameters around sex. And that has lived her entire relationship and worked for her, at least. I didn't, of course, talk to her husband, so I don't know if that really works for him. But I'm wondering, is that the case, that you learn how to do something and you keep using it? If you can leverage using the pearly gates, I'm going to call them the pearly gates. If you can leverage using, as they said on, what was it, Harlem Nights, sunshine. If you can leverage using sunshine for the rest of your life, you will use sunshine. Or is that something that women and maybe men, as you age, you don't have to use it to leverage because you want more sex? I want to clarify that question and hear from you. All right, we're at 7:55. And while I'm waiting to hear from Tawana or others, I want to go to one more of our partners who's going to tell you about something that's dear to my heart. And I hope that if you haven't considered this special resource, that you will give some thought to it. And we will be right back just after hearing about this special resource. Again, I'd love to hear from you in the comments right now.
Marcus, I want to congratulate you on Love and Stuff. I really want you to know that staying grateful and understanding the power of what it is to be operating out of a space of abundance and gratitude is the most important part of every journey of every day. So Marcus June, congratulations on this book. It's on Amazon now. That makes me so proud of you and your family and me and my family, and every single person around us gets it. So good on you for bringing it into the hands and the laps and the Kindles of all the people. Okay, so we're going to check it out. Can't wait to learn more.
And I'm so grateful for MJ from Shies of Sunset. As you may have known, if you follow that show, that her husband really has had some challenge and struggle with anger management. And part of his practice is a gratitude, gratefulness practice. And so I was so excited for her to talk about this book, The Gratefulness Journey, every day. What are you doing in the next 30 days to transform your life? Because it is transcendental. It will help you. It's transformative to transform your life through the practice of gratefulness. So it is available on Amazon. I would love for you to get it's just a 70-page read with 3 simple practices that you can put to use to change your life. It is also available on ebook, also on Amazon, but you can get either. And we would love for you to support us in the gratefulness journey every day. Well, we're at 7:57, and I want to say how important it is in relationship. I know we could see this man who is 38, who has 2 lady friends. And there are some fellas I talked to who said, I can't get one good one. And I said, you just keep hanging in there because there's a good one out there. And I believe that if you want good, you have to be open to love and put out good. I believe that. And I know there are people saying, I did that. I want you to keep doing it consistently, being open to love and putting out goodness. Being open to love means, at least from my vantage point, it means that you are not only open to love coming in the way that you expect it to come in, not only open to love to come in the package you're expecting it to come in, but you're open to however love might present him or herself in your life. And you are actively open. You're open when you're in the grocery store, when you're in the museum, when you're at work, when you're in the mall. You're open to love showing up differently than you've ever seen it before. That's where your love is front and center. That's why we have that slogan for one of our clothing brands lines, is because if your love is front and center, how could you ever, not front and center rather, how could you ever expect anybody to see it? You must be open and wear your love openly. Now, there's a risk to that, but you must be willing to take the risk to open yourself up. So you got to be open to love, and then you got to put positivity out. Put out the positive energy so that you will attract positive energy and you will repel negative energy. And I believe you will change the current of negative energy. Thank you, Tawana. Age is not a factor. Thank you so much for that. I think that that is very important to do. In this case, this gentleman has put on a lot of positivity out, clearly. And he has 2 ladies that are interested in him. One who knows that there is another lady, and one who has no clue that another lady is on the scene. And he spends a lot more investing of treasure with the 26-year-old, though he's willing to spend it on the 45-year-old, but he doesn't have to, because her desire is really to connect with him physically and emotionally versus having to be flown out and all of the other things. She appreciates those things when he does them, but it doesn't change any outcome in their sexual behavior, which he says sex with both of them is great. And what I offer to him, and I would offer to you, that while there might be enough of you to go around, there is just enough of you for one round. And that one round is one person that you're willing to invest your time, energy, and love with that aligns with your life goal. Now, I suspect at this point in his life goals still has some desire for status, stature, having a younger woman on his arm, maybe the possibility for children if he decides to marry her, though they've been dating on and off. It isn't maybe necessarily about his values, core values, but temporal value about what is present and now. And as you and I know, and I think he will come to some conclusion, the temporal can fade. The temporal can be faddish. The temporal can be a fetish. It can change, and sometimes quickly. But you may want to look with what relationships align with who you are at your core and who you want to build up at your core. What are those connections and relationships? Now, some would say, I'm going to favor the 45-year-old because I'm 52. That could be true. It is true that I favor him building something with the 45-year-old, not only because she requires less maintenance, but because she seeks him out. And there's something to be said when someone seeks you out, not for what you have necessarily, but for who you are and how they feel when they are with you. And I want to leave you with that tonight to ask you, are you filled up when you are with the person that you love? Do you love who you are with them? Are you with them for what they have and what they can do for you merely? Or are you with them for who you are when you're with them and who they are when they are with you? That latter, I think, should be one of your goals this year, to invest in the relationships that bring out the best in you and don't require the invest in you. Doesn't require the treasure being poured out without measure, but requires the time, talent, and energy to make you feel and be your most amazing. That is the relationship or relationships that you should pursue, those that fill you up as an individual and make you stand forward in the best of who you are when you are with them, and wanting to replicate that even when you're away from them, and vice versa. I hope that you will look at this, and if you see yourself in any part of this story, that's what Love and Stuff Community hopes that you walk away with to increase the amount of love in your life. If it's just for you to measure your relationships not by what people are investing in you monetarily, but what people are bringing to you that makes you feel the best of you. And if you have that, you, my friend, are blessed. And you should take full advantage of building a relationship with someone who makes you the best that you can be and feel the best you can be, and you do vice versa for them. When you have what you want outside the life partnering, it's less likely that you request a man and things for others. I think that is excellent, Tawana. We may have to have you on at some point to share that. That is awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you all for sharing. Keep tuning in. At 8:30 will be a replay of the Martin Luther King Jr. celebration we did last night. It's a little bit over an hour, but I think you will thoroughly enjoy it. We are sharing excerpts from his I Have a Dream speech that was delivered on June 23rd, 1963, here in Detroit, Michigan at Coble Hall. That's where it was first done. So we explore some of those excerpts along with some of the other works from him, from his final written work, and a few other epilogues from other authors in a celebration. We will continue our learning and sharing about Dr. King and about his Bill of Rights for the Disadvantaged and the Poor People's Campaign, so that we can continue to find ways so that we can build upon the principles of Kwanzaa and connect those principles to the dreams of Dr. King and other principles, so that we can advance our community through love. Love is the deciding factor. And if you and I get better at upping our love game, our world, your world and mine, will be greater today and tomorrow than it was yesterday. I'm Marcus Holmes, the love activist. I'm advocating for a better love for you and me, that we might change the world one love at a time. I hope you've enjoyed the show, and I hope to see you soon in these Facebook streets, if not before tomorrow or this evening at 8:30, tomorrow at 6 p.m. with Darren Williams and Love in the Scriptures, or Saturday with Kamal Williams and Felix Holmes at Sports Talk with Kamal and Felix at 11 a.m. Don't forget to click share, and don't forget to follow us on the Facebook page, Love and Stuff. Have a grateful evening, and remember, if no one else told you, you are loved.